I'll start by saying that it has been a real privilege and honor to run as the Socialist Equality Party's vice presidential candidate in the elections. Traveling around the country and holding meetings from places as diverse as the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota to Jacksonville, Florida, I've had the opportunity to speak to workers and students who are disgusted with these elections, social inequality, and war, and are interested in a genuine alternative. Many of those who came to our meetings voted for or supported Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders in the primaries because they thought he represented a challenge to the capitalist status quo. I heard time and again that young people and workers are seeking a party which will actually pose a challenge to the capitalist system, social inequality, and war, now that Sanders has revealed his true political purpose in endorsing Hillary Clinton. As Jerry noted, this has been a remarkable election, even by the standards of U.S. politics. A year and a half of campaigning by the Democrats and Republicans has come down to two right-wing candidates, Donald Trump, a fascistic billionaire, and Hillary Clinton, personification of the political status quo and the favorite candidate of Wall Street and the Pentagon. Whatever happens on Tuesday, the winner, maybe there won't be a winner, will be one of the two most unpopular candidates to ever seek the presidency, and their administration will be seen as illegitimate by millions. It is extraordinary that in an election season that was dominated by an outpouring of opposition to social inequality and the status quo, this is the outcome. No small responsibility for this lies in the campaign of Sanders, the self-proclaimed democratic socialist, and the politics of all those on the supposed left who promoted him. The Sanders campaign has been a major experience for millions of workers and a whole generation of young people. The lessons of this experience must be assimilated in order to prepare the foundation for a genuine socialist movement which will put an end to social inequality and war. Despite Sanders' craven endorsement of Clinton, the candidate of the billionaire class, the conditions which gave rise to the unexpected support for a candidate who called himself a socialist have not gone away. And regardless of the degraded and right-wing character of the election campaign between Clinton and Trump, the broad masses are moving to the left. This radicalization, the outcome of 8 years of protracted economic crisis and the anti-working class policies pursued by the Obama administration, found expression in the widespread support, particularly by young people, for Sanders. His rhetoric about a political revolution against the billionaire class was calculated to appeal to deep anger over social inequality and the domination of society by the rich. The Socialist Equality Party and the World Socialist website explained from the beginning that Sanders was not the catalyst for this movement. Rather, he was put forward as a defensive measure by the ruling class to capture those who are moving to the left and funnel them back into the Democratic Party, where their oppositional sentiment could be constrained, strangled, and dissipated. We wrote already in July of last year that the major political function of Sanders' campaign is to divert the growing social discontent and hostility toward the existing system behind the Democratic Party in order to contain and dissipate it. His supposedly socialist campaign is an attempt to preempt and block the emergence of an independent movement of the working class. Yet the fact that 13 million voters cast their ballots and many more supported a candidate because he openly referred to himself as a socialist was a remarkable development. In a country where socialism has been banned from political discussion for decades, where anti-communism has long been a state religion, more young people have a favorable opinion of socialism than of capitalism. An entire generation has come of age knowing nothing but war and economic crisis. Confronted with more than $1 trillion in student debt, unemployment, underemployment, low wages, and a lower standard of living than their parents, millions of young people in the United States are beginning to question the capitalist system itself and are looking for a genuine alternative. And it was not only young people. Millions of workers backed Sanders in the primaries, propelling him to victory over Clinton in states like Michigan, Wisconsin, West Virginia, and many others. Pseudo-left parties and political tendencies that operate within the orbit of the Democrats promoted illusions in the Sanders campaign, falsely insisting that Sanders would push the Democratic Party, including Hillary Clinton, the eventual nominee, to the left. The character of their politics has been exposed by the outcome of the Sanders campaign, which has seen him endorse Hillary Clinton, the candidate of the billionaire class and the military intelligence apparatus. It is notable that Sanders did not once criticize the United States' current wars or the plans for war with Russia and China during the primaries or any time since. He supports the foreign policy of the Obama administration, which has included the expansion of the so-called war on terror, drone assassinations, including of American citizens, and the deployment of special forces soldiers all over the world. He has not opposed Clinton's commitment to a no-fly zone in Syria, a move which would lead to a direct military conflict with Russia. Instead, Sanders is now going around campaigning on campuses, calling on young people to support Clinton without saying anything about what she will do. He has gone from criticizing her as the candidate of Wall Street to hailing her as the continuation of the political revolution. And now that her Wall Street speeches have been released by WikiLeaks, Sanders has said nothing at all. Along with Sanders, a whole host of supposedly oppositional figures have sought to stampede workers and young people into supporting Hillary Clinton, from Professor Noam Chomsky, filmmaker Michael Moore, the leadership of the Black Lives Matter movement, and comedian Louis C.K. These figures take no responsibility for the actual policies of the candidate they are promoting. They are all participating in a conspiracy aimed at covering up the immense dangers workers would face from a Clinton presidency. Of course, the Sanders phenomenon was not a purely American event. It is only the latest in a long string of experiences just in recent years. The coalition of the radical left, Syriza, came to power in Greece in January 2015, claiming to be opposed to austerity, only to implement deeper austerity measures than any of its predecessors. In Britain, Jeremy Corbyn, promoted as a figure who had transformed the Labour Party, has repeatedly capitulated to the most right-wing forces in his party. Similar forces will develop internationally, but workers and young people must be trained to identify and oppose such tendencies for what they are, political traps. Young people and workers don't need these pretenders like Sanders and his ilk. They need the real thing, revolutionary socialism and Marxism. The building of a successful anti-war movement will require an assimilation of the lessons of history and a much more serious approach to politics. It is not so much a question of Sanders himself, but a whole type of pragmatic politics that hopes for a solution to the crisis confronting the working class without a direct challenge to capitalism. The Socialist Equality Party's appraisal of Sanders was based on the method of Marxism, which analyzes political tendencies not by what they say about themselves, but by their history, program, and the class forces they represent. Our party is based on the long struggle to draw the political lessons of the socialist and working class movement. Workers must draw the most far-reaching conclusions from the experience of the Sanders campaign and prepare for the mass struggles to come. They must break with the rotten politics of the political establishment and the pseudo-left and join the Socialist Equality Party. Build sections of the International Youth and Students for Social Equality in your neighborhoods, high schools, and universities, and take up the fight for socialism and against capitalism and war. Thank you.